Why the white man got a strap down? Look in the mirror. Think about it. Thoughts of a scholar. Yeah. Come on. Y'all here. Looking for a better way. Come on. I gotta get off my feet if I wanna make a living. I gotta get off my feet if I wanna make a living. I gotta get off my feet to make y'all see my head. I'm standing tall on my feet, it's time to make them listen. I hear the voices whisper, and when they speak, I hear them preach on the thing that we need to keep us from being victims. Not if they keep the victim, read the most slicker and think quicker than the next. They're trying to get rich, man, I'm just trying to get free. Bang on the system, now sweeping our sisters, forcing our brothers to hustle. Making drugs for the love of the dough. They got us gunning for O's, killing each other, but we loving it though. Some of us act real bad when the Mac is on us. Packed on corners, can't be my flag to the home.
Shout out YBS TV and welcome back. Y'all see we back here in the studio. Like, can y'all believe it? We back here in the studio. It's been a while. Last episode, you know, the revolution won't be televised was the episode, and it was a home edition. You know, it was a little bit of a bootleg version. You know, like, you know, I had to let y'all know that I could do it two ways. You know, I could show y'all the studio, but you know what? If need be, I could do it right from my home and still give y'all that information. So with that, welcome to YBS TV, where YBS is the question and the answer for my young black scholars. All right? So, like I said, last show, we were talking about the revolution won't be televised. And so I want to recap a little bit on that. One of the reasons why I did that was because there's a show on TV right now called Cop Watch America on BET. And one of the slogans is that the revolution will be televised. Now, I took a little bit of, I don't want to say, I took a little bit of backlash for that because I posted that the revolution will not be televised, will never be televised, regardless of what anybody thinks. And some people took exception to that, mainly some of the cast members that's on the show. Now, one thing I will say about the Cop Watch show is that it shows a very important part in what needs to be done as far as activism, and it also shows different parts of activism as far as what they need to be together. If you're going to be marching, this definitely should be a unit that's watching the police, you know, because we need protection if you're going to be a marcher. So the Cop Watch units, as they're portraying, I actually like the way they're showing it as far as the Cop Watch unit. Some of the marches, some of the things that's going on behind the scenes, that, hey, we're going to leave that for another day. But what I want to do is I want to point out some of the stories that they highlighted. Jimmy Atchison, Anthony Hill, Nicholas Bolton, Veltavius Griggs, Kevin Diaby, Eric Garner, which everybody knows, and they're supposed to be, although we don't know if they're going to do it yet, because they haven't shown it yet, they're also supposed to be highlighting Andrew Kiss, as you see me multiple times highlight on this show here. So, one thing I want to definitely do, you know, because I try to do it on my show, but I don't have the words and I don't have the conviction in my voice the same way the brother Gil Scott Heron does. So what I want to do is I want y'all to just get a little bit of that emotion, you know, get a little bit of that spirit from Gil Scott Heron, and I want y'all to hear just a little bit of a snippet of the revolution won't be televised. And if y'all get a chance to go to YouTube and look it out, get some history, get some knowledge in your brain, get some culture, all right?
The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
See, that's how I like to get invigorated. That's how I like to start a show. And with that, we have a guest today. My brother, I would like you to introduce yourself, let the people know who you are.
How you doing? My name is Alphaeus Marcus. I'm a community advocate here in the New York City area. I would like to say that I believe in holding not just our communities accountable, but our elected officials as well as, you know, police accountable, because there's no such thing as a biased approach to what goes on. Just like we wrong, they gonna be wrong. they right, we gonna be right. We gonna keep it balanced and fair.
That's definitely true. Do you have an organization that you're a part of or anything, or do you just do freelance and do your own thing?
Well, I ended up starting my own organization called Advocates for the Community, and we basically, you know, it's a group of brothers that's been advocating, that's been very appreciative for the work that they've done in the communities, that's sincere about it, and it's a coalition.
Wow. And what does this coalition go about doing, just in case people wanted to know?
We deal with a multiple of issues.
Now, on top of it, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if there's any, what are the other people that are in the coalition, or what are the other organizations that are in the coalition, if you don't mind?
I got good brothers such as yourself
Well, you already know.
involved. I got brothers and sisters involved on the NYCHA issue, social inclusion issue, where police have been wrong about a lot of things. We have brothers on that forefront. Education, and basically informing the community civic-wise of what, you know, how not to be blindsided by being loyal to political parties, opposed to just forgetting about our own communities and our own stripes.
Wow. Well, see, I want to let you guys know, you guys are hearing this. So what I want you to do is give these people a little bit about your background. Let them know about your background. Like, where are you getting this information from that you feel like you want to be able to be one of the people to stand up for the community?
Well, is a lot of stuff that I do is based off experience. I was once a part of that street life. I seen that, you know, that life there, as time went on, it wasn't going anywhere. There's no 401ks in that street life, and there's no retirement fund. So what I started looking at, you know, I had a retrospection of some of the things I did and watching the kids now and how they was following behind individuals that was misleading them. You know, and I couldn't see watching somebody else's child be misled, you know, and thinking it won't knock on my door. You know, so I got proactive with everything, and you know, I started, you know, reaching out to brothers that was doing things at the time that I felt was doing things, and I was in the background for a long time watching these brothers, you know, take some of the things that I was giving them and misusing it. You know what I mean? So it was like, either I'm gonna come out from behind and lead the way it's supposed to be led, or I'm gonna just sit back and just watch everything just go, you know. And either way you put it, sitting back and watching it with these brothers, it wasn't beneficial to the community. And that was something I was against.
Well, I would have to say that we share a lot of the same, when it comes to everything you just said right now, we share a lot of the same, real similarities when it comes to that, my brother. That's one of the same reasons why I do what I do, you know, like when you feel like you're a part of certain things and you don't feel like things are being represented right, it's like, if you don't step up, you're like, you know what, damn, if I don't do it, not to say nobody's gonna do it, but I'm in the position to do it, why not, you know? Do you happen to watch the show Cop Watch?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I haven't. I know Jose LaSalle personally. You know, I know the people involved. You know, I haven't gotten a chance to really like watch it. I say busy, I've been busy.
I can't honestly say they definitely, the Cop Watch unit, Jose and Kim, they definitely portraying that part of the Cop Watch well. That's why I like how they're doing that. And if you really watch it the way Atlanta's doing it, most of the stories that I brought up, which I will say the names again because I want you people to actually look up these stories, because we don't say hashtags and names just to say hashtags and names. These are real stories. These are real people. These are real people that we're trying to get justice for. It's not just names. So one thing I noticed is that the Atlanta crew, we're on the 5th episode right now. They've already brought out 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 different names and highlighted different cases that are getting no real, how do you say, No real media attention.
Yeah, that's something that I can tell you from experience here in New York. A lot of people are media whores, if I can say it, but they follow what's trending. It's good for some if they're going to utilize a platform the way it's supposed to be used. But if not, you just how can I say it? You promoting a brand for yourself, and it's not translating to the communities that's necessary.
You actually leading right into my next point when you're talking about community right there, because like I said, watching Cop Watch, I noticed that there is this unity in the show. And what do you think might be the cause of some of the, like I said, it seemed like even though in the ATL series, the ATL show, they may not get along, but they seem to be working together in some kind of way. What do you think is the cause for disunity in the NYC activism community, in your opinion?
NYC unity, the dysfunction within I would say dysfunction.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of guys that's portraying that they're about the community. I think we should be more cautious of those that claim to be civil rights activists. We should be more cautious about those who claim to be having a black agenda, the urban community's agenda at hand, while covertly, and I say this, because I've seen it, I've dealt with a lot of individuals, covertly making deals with individuals who don't have our community's interests. And that's a problem. That's been a problem because, a lot of these organizations that claim to be, and a lot of people that portray, when you look at some of the civil rights issues that's going on today, it's been going on since 1866. Nothing's changed. Wow. We still segregated schools. We still have a lack of social inclusion, lack of social justice. We have no social economic value because we're discriminated against within the financial institutions, red line. So when we look at what goes on within our communities, we can't sit up there and praise individuals because they have great orating skills. They can sway the pulpit. They can convince the people for that moment. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. Late August, the president of the Sergeant Benevolence Association, he sends out a racist video.
What's his name?
Ed Mullins.
Yeah, because I want people to know. I actually knew his name already, but I wanted you people to know who this. He's supposed to be the sergeant, but to me, he's a criminal. Yeah. And his name is Ed Mullins. Okay, so
he throws out a racist video. I guess wins with it. Now, me and Ed, we had a nice rapport, right? I arranged a meeting with him. I let him know, that video, it wasn't something that can honestly say from a person of that level and having a platform of, let me see, Sergeant Benevolence Association, they have about maybe 16 to 15, 13, anywhere from 13 to 15,000 members in a union. It's not conducive when you have a program such as an NCO program that's designed to rebuild and reestablish a relationship between the black community and NYPD. It's not conducive because if your hierarchy within your ranks is racist, then that means everybody else is going to follow lead.
Follow suit. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
I reached out the brothers to sit, to come in on this meeting. A lot of them faked. No problem. His thing was, I'll issue a public apology. I said, I'm not too sure of how many black leaders, within the community, if you've been dealing with that, would accept a public apology. Yeah. I want action. you have all these sergeants within your members, the NCO program, which these sergeants are supervisors of. I want that implemented because that's what's necessary. I am tired of seeing or receiving videos of police beating up on young African Americans.
And what was his response?
No, he was cool with it.
Okay.
But just like with everything else, they'll tell you,
In your face.
but behind your back is something different.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna fast forward to maybe within that same week, right? You had the cop, Daniel Pantaleo.
You can mess his name up, it
Yeah.
don't even matter.
He got terminated. Matter of fact, the day the commissioner Commissioner O'Neill announced the termination, me and Ed Mullen was sitting in his office discussing the racist video. They had to rush over there to that press conference. Now, that press conference literally was supposed to have been this here. O'Neill was supposed to let Pantaleo keep his job and resign.
I have a question. Because I speak to Emerald Garner, and do you think that O'Neill resigning could lead, because this is one thing the family is scared of, could lead to NYPD bringing back Daniel Pantaleo? Because they said he is going to try to appeal for his job back.
That's the whole thing. That's what it's designed for.
That's what I'm asking. Like, do
I think so? Yes.
It's possible that
yes,
he can actually...
yes. Because from what I've seen with Shay is a cop's cop.
Mm-hmm.
And most recently, some of the so-called leaders within the black organizations, they sat with Shay. Prior to that, I requested to sit in that meeting because what I didn't want was the same meet and greet like they did with O'Neill.
Yeah.
And we had the same outcome. They didn't want to let me sit with that. And to me, it's okay because at the end of the day, I know neither one of them leaders have been doing what they're supposed to be doing for the community. And by not doing what they're supposed to do for the community, right, what ends up taking place is, and mark my words, Pantaleo is a high possibility that he'll be back. The relationship between the black communities and the NYPD will continue to deteriorate because there's no accountability there.
I agree with that.
We sit up here, we praise, some of us are now, we upset with de Blasio.
Yeah.
But we'll still be loyal to a party instead of being loyal to our community.
With that, I'm gonna try to switch because I want to get some good information out of you real quick. For one, I want to stick to the topic real quick. Do you think the revolution can be televised?
Through what media?
Through any medium, television, well, mainly television, since it's televised. Do you believe the revolution can be televised?
Not in the way that it should be, because understanding the history, the media is a very diluted platform. They think it's about money. Will they stick to a black agenda? Not at all.
Exactly. This is the reason why I believe it's impossible for the revolution to be televised when the people who control the television are not going to allow certain entities to be aired.
Yeah.
But see, like I said, now since I'm going to run low on time, but I already noticed you got a lot to talk about. What I wanted to get into is the responsibilities of the church within the community, right? And a lot of people look at the church as the savior for the community and the black community, being that the civil rights organizations came out of the church supposedly. And you actually opened my eyes to what's called the Decree of 1455. And so once my eyes open, I'm like, YBS. I was about to curse, but y'all know what it stands for. And I got to let y'all understand what this is. So let us break down what the meaning of, what is the Decree of 1455 and how it relates to blacks in the church.
Well, the Decree of 1455 was, I forgot the Pope's name, but what they did was essentially, they ordered the destruction of Africa. Because by ordering the destruction of Africa, right, you can't question where the actual, the entity of religion, Christian, the church establishment comes from. When you look at the truth, the origins of it, it comes from the hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Osiris, Isis, and Horus. They took the Trinity, formed that. What they did was they removed the incest part of the hieroglyphics and made it the Immaculate Conception. Now, if you was aware that what's going on comes from Africa, like you would like.
That should correlate with each other, obviously.
Yeah, you would be you wouldn't look you wouldn't look at the pastors and everybody in the way that you look at them.
Yeah.
You would look at the colonizers for what they are. They want to keep you out of that state of where you at, because when you look at the majority of the population is African. They only like a minority. This is why some of the brothers that come from Africa and these other states, these other countries, when they come to America, they have education.
Yeah.
America is the only country under the universal laws that forbid the education of blacks.
So what would you say to people who like are engulfed in like entrenched into the church that still want to like that still would like to just be a part of the church, but they want to feel like they're still being righteous? And technical directive, if we don't get a chance to, if I'm still going in 23 in that video, you don't get a chance to air, then forget it, because we're having a great convo right now. What would you say to these people that want to still be righteous and still feel like they're doing the right thing for the community, but are so engulfed in the church that they don't want to leave? They don't want to believe. They don't believe that the church.
See, that's the thing.
Them.
What you're saying right there is a belief. We as blacks, we're conditioned to believe in something. We're conditioned to be forgiven, which is all a lower form of the church in the indoctrination process. That's how you make a slave. You kill them, you beat them, you rape them, but then they forgive you. So it's the conditioning of these people that's in the church. It's because they have a need, that psychological, emotional response to want to be a part of something. And it's sad because if they look at the decree and they look at some of these white nationalist groups, it's the same rhetoric.
Wow.
Same rhetoric.
Gotcha.
Same rhetoric. We believe in Jesus. Who killed Jesus allegedly in the Bible? The Jews.
Yeah. I'm about
That's
to
why
the
they.
Romans.
That's why they don't like Jews.
Yeah.
The decree calls for the destruction of Africa. That's why they don't like blacks. It's all there, but nobody would really,
They don't want to. Well, like the Willie Lynch says, we don't read. That's what it says. Yeah. There was another question I definitely have for you. That's what it was. Where do you see the direction of community leadership in a movement for black liberation? Like, where do you see the direction going?
We have to get off integration, because while we have our leaders talking about integration, it's not about integration, it's about inclusion. It's two different things, because if you go to school with whites, you're integrated. If you work with whites, you're integrated.
Yeah.
If you live in a community and it's whites, you're integrated.
Yeah.
It's about social inclusion. And that's what we have to identify. Social inclusion opposed to social integration. Two different terms. And we have to do that politically.
That's one of the best ways I hear about it, is about going through it politically. A lot of people, we want to avoid the political aspect of what we're doing in the fight. A lot of people just want to march and fight and chant and scream, and then they want to scream, we don't want to vote, because they feel we don't have no power, which I agree with as far as on the scale of president. But locally, I think that we have the most power locally to address our issues in our community, and I think that that's very important for us to vote locally.
Yeah.
And so when people say that voting is not important, I understand sometimes we may feel that way. We feel like we don't get our way, but locally, voting is heavily important, and it directly affects exactly what's going on. So yes, political education, and also because of the decree of 1455, as you said, Black economics and black education is imperative for us in order to move forward. Like we have to start teaching our children these things from the jump. We have to start teaching them black economics, how to build wealth, how to not just to get jobs, sustain jobs, how to build their own companies. Like these are the things that we're not teaching them. We're teaching them how to be employees. I mean employees rather than employers. And that's something that we kind of definitely have to get away from. Divisionism is also plaguing us when it comes to blacks and LGBTs on the same fighting field when it comes to activism. Hey, do you think there's a way for that to actually happen, or is there always going to be a division between the LGBT movement and the black empowerment movement?
It's always going to be a division. I remember one day we had a march, right? And we were speaking about issues that affect communities of color, black and brown communities. And we had one Hispanic member of the LGBT community. What about LGBT rights? LGBT. And I had to explain to him, I said, well, what you gotta look at is this here, right? Whether you white or black, whether you Hispanic and you gay, black and gay, you always will be and a spick who just happens to have your choice of sexual orientation. Don't allow yourself to be forgotten of the discrimination by your color for your sexual orientation.
You know, it's one thing I hate is I don't really believe in exploiting sexuality either way. Like, I'm not the type of person that's saying, oh, you should be putting it out there that you're homosexual, or you should be putting out there that you're straight. I just don't believe that children need to see exploitation of sexuality just as a whole, in general, like, as a whole. Oh, man, like, a lot of people think that I'm homophobic because I say that, but I just don't believe either or should be exploited. Sexuality shouldn't be exploited. I'm just old school like that.
But they emasculate a child from the beginning. Let me show you this here. What's the difference between Ken and Barbie?
Barbie has breasts.
That's it.
That's it.
Little girls, they don't have any breasts, but as they get older, they develop breasts. There's no sexual organs that define the dolls, just the breasts. Boys watch little girls grow up, and when they grow up, they go from flat-chested to breasts. They don't even understand it as a man because they're not aware of sexual organs through the dolls, playing the dolls, that they're conditioned for one thing, emasculation.
Emasculation of the man.
Of the man.
And with that, see, my brother's knowledgeable here. Let them know where they can find you at, if anything. Well, I know you can find them on Facebook.
Yeah,
but,
Facebook.
Is there anything else you want to say in closing?
Well, just touch on the political thing that we were speaking about. What we need to do as a community is start being politically involved. We need to start being nonpartisan opposed to being partisan. We can no longer afford to be loyal to a party that's not loyal to us. We can no longer continue to invest in the political careers of these politicians and get nothing in return. We must start from within. We must have Democrats as well as Republicans within our nonpartisan groups. If there's an incumbent that's a Democrat, we run a Democrat. If he loses, we still got our Republican. We give our communities a 50-50 chance without any allegiance to any parties.
My brother. And with that being said, hey, if you feel inclined to do something right, I got one question for you. You already know what that question is.
What you gonna do?
YBS. It's the question and the answer. Tune in again next time. And we're gonna be right here. Y'all already know what it is. Peace and black power, y'all. Cue that music.
Don't worry why the white man got a strap down. Look in the mirror. Think about it. Thoughts of a scholar. Yeah. Come on. We out here. Looking for a better way.